Well, welcome everyone to another GoDaddy Pro Makers of the Web meetup. My name is Marcus Burnett, and I am on the team here at GoDaddy. Hope everyone is having a great week so far. Welcome to those that are joining us in the chat area. We'll be hanging out there as well some. But last week, Haley Johnson from Avalara was on the meetup to talk about what agencies should know about e-commerce taxes. If you missed that, then the replay is live now. Make sure that you go check that out either on our GoDaddy Pro YouTube channel or events.godaddy.com. But today I have a special guest joining me to talk about one of my favorite subjects, actually, WordPress and WooCommerce. More specifically, some of the ways that Avalara is integrated and integrating into the platform to handle tax calculations. So I'd like to India Anderson, Director, Product Management, Integrations, Marketplace, and E-commerce Solutions at Avalara. How are you today?
Hey Marcus, I'm good. How are you? Happy Wednesday.
Thank you. Yes, we are halfway through the week and we are making it. Thanks
Yep.
so much for being here.
Yeah.
I'm sure that you might tell us a little bit more about yourself, but
Mhm.
would you briefly share what you do as Director, Product Management, and all those other little things behind there?
Yeah, absolutely. I have been with Avalara for 12 and a half years. I like to say I got to grow with the company.
Yeah, congrats.
Um, Thank you, thank you. Yeah. So I am a director within our product management team. I own our app space, our integration space for all of our e-commerce and marketplace apps. So all of those things that Avalara builds to connect your financial system to your Avalara service, we build those things. So we build the Avatax app for WooCommerce, among many, many others. And so, focused within the marketplace and e-commerce space, got a lot of overlap there. And I also manage product managers who manage those individual apps as well.
Very nice. Yeah,
Mhm,
sounds like a lot, but also a lot of fun. A lot of fun things in there.
mhm. Yep, exactly.
Before I hand things over to you, though, just real quick for those that are joining us, we'll have a little bit of time for Q&A at the end. So on the right side of your screen, there should be a chat window. Please feel free to toss any questions that you have for India in there, and we'll be sure to answer some of those at the end. Also, this is being recorded and will be on our YouTube channel and on the event page where you registered for this event within a day or two afterwards. And I'll include, lots of notes, whatever links that we can from this presentation and all of that there as well. So if you have to leave early for whatever reason, or you want to share this with your team afterwards, then we'll be sending a replay out as well. So let's get right on into it. I'm going to hop out of the way here and let you tell us a little bit more about Avalara's WordPress integrations. Take it away, India.
Awesome. All right. Well, yeah. So today I will be talking about the integrations that we build, specifically for our WordPress developer audience. Yeah, so I am talking about the Avalara Compliance Cloud. So, like I started, we have my team builds integrations. They build the apps that connect your financial app to the Avalara services. So, I'll start by talking about the Avalara services. Within the Avalara Compliance Cloud, we have six core product categories, and then, of course, the entirety of the platform. So, in our compliance cloud, we service many regions, many different customer segments, and customers in many different industries. The product categories that we're primarily focused on are calculation. So that would be the tax calculation where you see tax applied to a sale you're making on your website. We also handle returns and reporting of that compliance data, whether it is a sales tax return that you need to file with your local government, or reporting that you're using to understand your business's financial footprint. We handle returns and reportings based on the data that is communicated back to our cloud service. We also manage documents. For most of our customers, that is the compliance documents, things like exemption certificates and 1099s. that they're managing for their customers and sellers. We also have licenses. We do business licenses and registrations. We do fiscal reporting. So that would be like e-invoicing. And then we also provide related to your data and offering insights. So that can be something as simple as product categorization, um, or the various data points that we make available to you so that you can better understand your business's footprint within a region, or we're using our reports and some map UIs, all sorts of wonderful things. And so those are all available within the cloud. That is driven by Avalara's extensive tax content, compliance content, and product content lab. So we have an extensive content platform that is running on Avalara's proprietary engines that makes all of those services function. And we have research teams who are doing research on product taxability, jurisdictional changes, all of those things, so that you can take that work off of your plate so you don't need to know that the city down the street has changed their tax rate to 6% instead of 5. And to access that content and those services via our various applications, we have an extensive API set. We also build integrations, and then we also have experience in delivery. And so today I will talk a little bit about APIs and integrations that are available for the WordPress and WooCommerce ecosystem. And all of this is housed within our world-class infrastructure. So we are reliable, we have a secure ecosystem, and it scales automatically for you. So it enables you, our infrastructure enables you to easily grow your business. All right. So first we'll start with the GoDaddy integration. So there is an Avalara integration within the GoDaddy Commerce Plus product, and that service enables automatic sales tax calculation. It enables you to stay compliant with domestic and international tax rules. So it gets you out of having to maintain tax rates. It automatically validates addresses for you so that you know the right rates are being applied. You can utilize it to do consumer use tax self assessment. You can use it to do cross border calculations for duties and tariffs. And all of that data is also integrated to Avalara's returns preparation and filing platform. So you can use us to handle all of that transactional tax related material. Within our WooCommerce ecosystem, I want to highlight we have an integration that is for the WooCommerce ecosystem, and we are seeing trends within WooCommerce related to shifts within the economy, etc. So I wanted to touch on what Woo experts do see coming. So there is a focus, though they are generally down on the economy. They generally businesses plan to weather the storm via recession-proof clients and features. There is a focus on if you are enabling something that is a service which is bought now but paid later. The BNPL ecosystem is healthy with streamlined checkout and payment options, of course. There is still a focus on business to business, bricks to clicks. So B2B clients and brick to mortar stores are seeking to complete online for the first time. And then people are generally bullish on WooCommerce taking market share with new features and offerings in 2023. And so I wanted to help to focus in on related to the economic outlook and looking at recession proof clients and features, like I highlighted in the previous slide. our system is set to scale with you. And so, as you're looking at focusing your business on items that could be recession proof and maybe really focusing in to paying for the services exactly to the level that you need, but still having the scalability option there for you, Avalara's service is a great option because we scale with you automatically. If you do have a buy now, pay later payment process, we do have the ability to be incorporated into whatever checkout and payment options that you have set up within your ecosystem. For businesses who are selling business to business or trying to combine their brick and mortar store sales with their e-commerce business, like I highlighted, we have document management service available, so we can handle those business to business sales just the same as business to consumer and enable you to differentiate and manage the data around that. You can also, Avalara has an extensive set of integrations. And so, whatever you are using with your brick and mortar store in combination with your WooCommerce you can have all of that data within your Avalara account. We already handle that. And then, of course, as WooCommerce continues to expand, any knowledge that you have on the WooCommerce integration, you can help to grow your business as a developer, supporting those ecosystems as well. All right. So for 2022, WooCommerce, by the numbers, so there were over 3.4 million live websites using WooCommerce. 25% of the top 1 million online stores are powered by WooCommerce, and 93% of WordPress e-commerce websites are using the WooCommerce plugin. Again, we're highlighting that because we have a pre-built WooCommerce Avalara integration that you can use to plug in our tax solution into that WooCommerce site. And so WooCommerce also, of course, many, many millions of downloads. Many products are available within the marketplace to add into your WooCommerce ecosystem. And there are also more than 60 languages supported. So WooCommerce definitely makes sense as an expansive ecosystem with many businesses utilizing that as their financial app of choice within their WordPress environment. We build a WooCommerce plugin, and so I have a brief diagram just showing the highest level. And so you can see that the framework, the connector, is it's a library that is used in the connector. We have our service accessed via the API. And so there is data passed to the Avatax backend via the WooCommerce plugin framework. And then that Avatax backend sends the response to the WooCommerce plugin framework, and it is consumed by the plugin. And so what you experience is a real-time tax calculation that is done seamlessly behind the scenes. This is a really important feature because unlike some tax solutions where you may utilize a rate table or stored information, as your business profile changes, as you add new products, you see those changes real time in your sales as they are processed live by the Avatax service that is accessed via the plugin. And so very important features. We also have our documentation available, extensive installation documentation, and how our integration is enabled and configured, all available within avalara.com. We have, like I said, the WooCommerce plugin. We will also be listing Avalara Avatax on the WordPress plugin site next month. And so that plugin, the WordPress plugin, gives you access to Avatax in WooCommerce. And just like the Avatax service features available within your GoDaddy environment, That again has the built-in state and local rules with no maintenance, automatic address validation, automatic use tax self-assessment, cross-border duties and tariffs, and integrated returns preparation and filing. There are extensive services available from Avalara through the connector so that you can utilize them directly within your WooCommerce ecosystem. And again, that plugin will be available also on the WordPress plugin store next month. And I did want to highlight, especially since I'm sure we have many WordPress developers on call today, we have hooks within our WooCommerce app so that you can customize the Avalara Avatax behavior. And so, of course, we have hooks including filters and actions. The currently available library plugs in for address, order status, calculating tax, and sending orders to Avalara. So you can see the full list of our filters and actions available via hooks in our documentation. We have that documentation linked to our app listing currently on WooCommerce.com. And you can also request for additional hooks if there is a behavior you want to customize that's not currently supported. Again, those hooks primarily are supporting actions and filters related to addresses, order status, and then the tax calculation and the data that's sent to Avalara via the actions. It's important to know that even though you're using a pre-built integration for Avalara, you still have the availability of customization because we do still have hooks available for WordPress. All right. I also want to highlight, so if you don't want to use our pre-built integration, if you don't want to use the Avatax WooCommerce integration, our Avatax software developer kit available in PHP. So you can utilize the Avalara API and build your own integration using our PHP SDK. And the SDK, of course, has a lot of information. You can access it on GitHub. There's extensive documentation around how to utilize the SDK itself. We have extensive API documentation, including an online API Explorer that is interactive. You can try it live on developer.avalara.com. And we have integration guides that are tailored to the e-commerce experience. So we have a tailored e-commerce integration guide on how to build an e-commerce app for sales tax. And we also have dedicated guides if you do want to add in specialized services such as document management, or you want to support one of the specialized tax needs for industries such as alcohol, lodging, etc. They're all available via one API, our REST v2 API, and we have integration guides that can help you to understand best practices for building those integrations, in addition to understanding the bare bones API functionality. All right. And so that is the end of the presentation. Feel free to reach out to me at india.anderson@avalara.com. You can also find me on LinkedIn. India's a pretty, India is an easy name to find on LinkedIn/India-Anderson. And that is the end of the presentation.
Yep.
Hello, hello.
Hey, I'm back. Takes a second to get
Yep.
stuck back in. That was a ton of awesome stuff.
Yeah.
Like I said, I did support for Skyverge for a while, and actually got to see some of the stuff that Avatax is able to do, some of the ways that people use it, some of the questions that people have, and all of that. And like I said last week with Haley, the tax calculation is just one of those things that's way too complicated and like to deal with yourself. Like you have to have someone like Avalara handling that sort of thing because there's just so much to keep track of, so much to when it comes to tax rates in different places and calculating all of those, and it's based on where as a store and based on where the customers are, and it's just too much to try and think of yourself. And then when I think of those plugins that have like rate tables and how big those
Mhm,
are and how complicated those are and how much you have to keep that updated and everything else is just out of control. So
mhm,
um yeah, love all the stuff that Avalara and Avatax are doing, and um sharing some of the ways that folks can integrate.
mhm,
um that said, one of the questions that I have, and I left a comment in the chat for folks to ask some questions if they have some there. I don't have any at the moment, so we'll see if some come in while I'm asking other questions. But given the WooCommerce and WordPress plugins and existing integrations with other platforms, I assume beyond just the GoDaddy Commerce site, how much code do agencies and site builders need to know?
They don't need to know anything. So they can use our WooCommerce Avatax app plug and play. A user can simply install it from the extension App Store and do the configuration and be done. So it's wonderful because you can have someone who's not particularly development savvy be able to interact and configure the app in its entirety. Or if you want to really dig in and utilize additional customization features, you can do that as well.
Yeah, I know that we have some developers with us today because this was specifically targeted at kind of developing for WordPress and that kind of thing. But I know a lot of our audience is, site builders, agency owners, small agencies that maybe don't have a ton of development resources. And so, hearing that it's relatively plug and play if you want to use the resources that already exist is fantastic news. And I just wanted to add on top of that the WooCommerce Avatax plugin itself is free to download.
Mhm,
So the plugin itself doesn't cost anything. Get it in there, get Avalara connected, and you're on your way to collecting taxes within your e-commerce store. And
mhm.
I think that's amazing. You briefly noted a little bit about WordPress hooks and filters, and I was just curious, what might a developer want to do before or after the connection to Avalara, or some of the other hooks and filters that are actions and filters that are there? What are some of the things that maybe you've seen developers use those for?
Yeah. Typically, so most of our hooks are related to address because that tends to be the most customized and unique area within their e-commerce. So they are typically doing things like find and replace or filtering of content related to the address to ensure that they're using the right one and to ensure that the right information is being communicated to Avalara. And then the actions, those are typically to accommodate some specialized business processes around checkout. So if they want to delay calculation or delay sending of data to Avalara following calculation, they would utilize the actions to customize that behavior to accommodate a custom workflow.
Very cool. Um, did I read or hear that right? That it does the like WooCommerce address validation as well? I know at SkyVerge, one of our separate plugins is address validation, but if Avatax does kind of address validation and tax calculations
Mhm.
all together in WooCommerce, that'd be awesome. Is that true?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So our app does address validation. So we're validating the address for the purpose of tax calculation. It's actually really interesting. So once we validate the address, we on our side are converting that address. So not only are we confirming that it is a known address, a known address, deliverable address, but we convert that address to latitude and longitude coordinates to pinpoint exactly where that location is so that our extensive tax boundary content, that overlay of what tax districts apply in that region, are sure to apply to that specific point. It is essentially rooftop accurate, as opposed to what you may be getting with a rate file where you're being zip code or zip
Hmm.
plus 9 accurate. And that's really important within the tax compliance space. You can have a different tax rate apply to the front door of the warehouse compared to the back door of the warehouse. Different suites within a single building can have different tax jurisdictions that apply. I know there's in Tacoma, there's a restaurant that has a tax district that cuts right through their parking lot. So,
Oh my
if
goodness.
yeah, so in any way, tax districts don't conform to what we see as physical boundaries, and so it's important to have that rooftop accuracy to make sure that you are providing an accurate rate to your consumer.
That's so mind-boggling to me, and I talked briefly with Haley about it, but the fact that, back door of the warehouse, front door of the warehouse might be different, if that doesn't convince you to have someone handle that for you, I don't know what will.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
crazy.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, and imagine trying to keep pace with that. Like
Yeah,
not only knowing
changes.
that you need to look that up, but those change. States and cities change the tax rates every month. So, and Avalara handles that for you.
Yeah, and I was gonna ask you a little bit about kind of underlying, and you touched on it some there, is that that's interesting that it's not necessarily, looking at the address itself and saying, this address is here. It's actually converting that to a spot, a dot on the map, and saying,
Mhm.
okay, this falls within, this boundary, so this should be applied in that and everything else.
Yep, exactly, exactly. And on top of that, rates don't always apply consistently across a time. So many states have tax holidays that may apply to reduce or eliminate sales tax within a single weekend for particular products. And using Avalara's service, we automatically apply those for you. So you tell us what you're selling and where, and we, our researchers, track this thing that is being sold is taxed in a special way or not taxed for sales that occur during these 3 days in August. That's the most typical back to school.
Yeah, I was
And
gonna say we have back to
yeah,
school tax-free days, so Avalara will handle that too. If
yeah,
obviously if you're selling school supplies,
yeah,
it depends on what you're
exactly.
selling, but Avalara will handle that too for like times of the year where, oh man,
Exactly,
I don't
and
even have to
you
touch
don't
that.
need to do anything special either. All you have to do is the product, the tell us what you're selling by assigning the tax code to your products, and we have a service that automates that for you as well. So it's really it's an incredibly powerful set of services that you get by plugging into Avalara.
Yeah, for real. Um, the other question I had is there a sandbox to allow for testing tax calculations for
Yes.
developers that are trying to look, set this up, decided not to use the WordPress plugin, or maybe did use the WordPress plugin, want to make sure everything is working appropriately? Is there a sandbox for that for developers?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So they can get a sandbox on developer.avalara.com. So we have sandbox environments that you can get for a short period of time. You can try out the API on developer.avalara.com. There's a code window on the that's housed on the
Hmm.
right side of the screen. We also have Swagger to test our API if you don't want to if you don't want to download our Postman collection and try there. You can just use Swagger to test out scenarios. It's a really great set of enablement tools.
Awesome. And then the last one I have is just if you could spend a moment talking about what kind of like reporting and stuff you find in the back end. Does it have breakdown for county versus city versus whatever other tax, or just what kind
Yes,
of reports do people generally
yeah,
look for and are offered on the back end?
yeah, yeah. So we have extensive reporting available. So you can look at your sales in the simplest form. Hey, what sales occurred in this state in this month, and just kind of match. Okay, I've got 2,000 orders, and Avalara has 2,000 orders, and it had this amount of tax, and go on. We have reports that are tailored to show you the data as it would be filed in a return, showing you that jurisdictional information with the tax breakout for each jurisdiction. If you're looking to track your sales that were specifically not taxed, we have reports designed to show you your tax exempt sales, your sales of products that are not taxable, and sales that are outside of your nexus where you have told us to calculate tax. So you can slice and dice your data in many different ways using Avalara's pre-built reports. And for those businesses who are in a period of growth, we have a specialized economic nexus report that shows you for those sales that you're sending us where you have not yet declared or registered that your business for sales tax collection in that region. We also have a heat map that shows you how your business is growing within those regions where they do have those economic thresholds. And we have registration services that you can use with us as well if you're ready to register.
Wow, that's really cool. Sounds super robust. And between
Mhm.
that and talking about, back in front of warehouse being different rates and, handling the weekends where it's tax free for certain things, I don't see any reason why anybody would try it, really,
Yeah,
to be totally honest with you. That's crazy. That's awesome. Thank you so much. I'm gonna share my screen and wrap things up for us a little bit here. Let me see here. All right. First things first. This is where you signed up for today's meetup. Those of you that are joining us, if you're watching this on YouTube channel later, this is where you'll want to go to sign up for future events and also see all of our past events. It's events.godaddy.com. Please make sure that you go there. We have usually weekly events, and so just want to hang out and see what's going on the next several weeks. That's the place to go check it out. I did want to mention that starting in March, we are going to be changing the time of these to be a couple of hours earlier. And that is to allow additional viewership and guests from folks overseas in Europe. A lot of the times we've had a few guests on, and it's been 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night when they've been on, depending on daylight savings and all of that. And so just want to shift that a little bit earlier, and that way we can cover kind of west coast of the US all the way through to European time zones a little bit better, and not just for those that are watching, but also to make sure that we can get guests from those time zones as well. um, we also have the GoDaddy Pro Academy at godaddy.com/pro/academy. We have a ton of ebooks and videos there to help you with all the different steps of running a web design business. So go take a look at those. They're all completely free. So check that out. It's a great resource for just running a web design business and all the different things that you need to know. And then finally, we have the GoDaddy Pro community. Uh, we have generally for each of these meetups, we have a topic posted in the community where we can kind of continue the conversation about any of these. So please do check community.godaddy.com. Along with these meetup event topics, we also have other topics about WordPress and WooCommerce and just being a web designer, developer, agency, entrepreneur. All of those things are covered in the community. If you need advice or to find inspiration or just connect with others, that's a great place to do it. So do make sure that you check out the GoDaddy Pro community as well. India, I am going to get all of these links that you posted in the chat from you after we're done here, and make sure that I also share all of those with the recording as it gets posted on YouTube and gets posted back to our events page. I want to make sure that people have all of these links as well if they didn't get a chance to join us for the meetup today. So
awesome.
I'll reach out to you and grab those afterwards. So those of you that are watching this later, just I guess look down below. They should be hanging out there somewhere. Thanks again, India, for coming and sharing all that. There's a ton of great stuff there. And like I said before, I don't know why anybody would do anything else. It's just silly.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you for everyone that joined us today. And we will see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.